Hey, welcome to the Toadstead. What you're looking at is the back end of this little 90 Ford Ranger we picked up a while back. And it's been sitting here forlornly on flat tires. Yeah, I know. Chevrolet owners are like, oh, it's supposed to be like that. Hey, drop dead, man. Anyway, we're going to slowly try and work this into a kind of a round the farm truck. We decided to go with the little one, and we're going to let the big one set. If y'all been watching the channel, you've heard you've watched all the videos of how we ended up with all these different vehicles. But point being, we like the size, 4-cylinder, 5-speed, runs real good, needs a clutch, no kidding. Actually a slave cylinder. Anybody who knows these Rangers knows that story. But because we just had a recent job where we had to, well, take a bunch of junk, there is the bed. A little bit nigh over there. Basically just picked it up and rolled it into the trailer. So it's going to the great metal shop in the sky. And we'll get the back end cleaned up. The mud. The person who had this thing before me evidently liked playing in the mud, because we have lots of our infamous red clay all over this poor thing. And it needs a bit, but in a way, we kind of look at it as a blank slate. So this is the first thing we're doing to it, and we'll bring you along as we move on. And here it is a month or so later. The biggest difference you can see is the flatbed, but we'll show you a few things. One of the more exciting things was on Craigslist, we found 4 tires and wheels with the Steelies on them. They were new takeoffs, so the tires have almost no miles on them at all. And we only paid a couple $100 for all of it. And actually, I think it was $160, and I stop and think about it. But so we're very excited to have 4 matching tires and wheels. That's really nice for a truck like this. Yes, we went ahead and built the flatbed, and some of the details on that are these mud flaps. The struts are just welded on there, and that mud flap right there, the pair, was actually one big truck mud flap that we picked up on the side of the road a couple years ago. Evidently a big truck had backed into a curbing or something and ripped his own mud flap off, and we saw it sitting there in the rest area. So we threw it in the back of the car and brought it home. It's been sitting in the shop for, well over a year. And when it came time to do this, we're like, hey, wow, if we cut that one mud flap in half, well, then we have 2 mud flaps for a little farm truck. So that worked out really good. Around here, kicking up stuff happens. And it's rather rude to smash other people's windshields. So we did this. It's also the reason this aluminum that I had picked up at the scrapyard several years ago, I picked up 3 or 4 sheets of this, and we were able to cut one sheet into 3 pieces, and that's what this is. This is a splash guard, so anything that comes off of the back tires doesn't come up in between the wood coverings and get into the back of the truck. So we went back and forth on this a little bit. It's hard to tell right now, but the flatbed just slightly inclines towards the front of the truck. So any water that gets in there between the wood, our hope is that it'll drain out and won't puddle. But that's just something we'll have to do. There's a set of trailer lights that I had floating around, and we just installed them as tail lights on the truck. And the flatbed, the top piece here came as part of some stuff that somebody gave me, and it's all pretty much 1¼ angle iron. And what worked out perfect was I bought 3 20-foot sections of this steel, and that, with the small piece the person gave me, did everything that you can see on the flatbed. So it was about $32 for the steel. These pieces down here were pieces of steel that came with the Toad shop. They're to be cut to basically make other pieces to help build the building. And I had some left over, so you can see another one in here. and another one up here. So, yes, is it light duty? Yeah, but it's a light duty truck. These are, this Ford is not well known. So it's only the 4-cylinder. It's actually got the old Pinto engine in it. It's not exactly a hot rod. And this truck is really just for feed and for pulling stuff around, bringing stuff to the Toadstead. Stuff I don't want to put in that. So it's light duty, but it should work. And we're actually going to use deck boards for the back. Again, light duty. There's no sense in putting 2-bys and making this bed any heavier than necessary. It only needs to be heavy enough so you get some kind of traction. When there was no bed on it whatsoever, it just didn't even like hooking up on the grass. Now that we've got this on here, it does pretty well. And when we add, you know, the 50, 70 pounds of wood, it should work out real well. Now, we got the truck, the windshield was smashed. And thank you, Safelite. That's been taken care of. Got a nice brand new windshield in it. And the headlights were just old. And as you can see here, we've got a new set of headlights all in there. So, you know, make it look good, make it work good. We're not trying to make this into a any kind of show truck, but its idea is just to haul the crappy stuff around the farm. Oh yeah, and by the way, for you fans, the boss is in attendance. He's hanging out here making sure that everything is done right. Right? Okay. So, there's a little farm truck. Almost done. Now, this thing does have air conditioning, and after we get the bed all straightened out, I'm going to play with it, take it down, and see if it's going to be worth putting it on. That would be a that'd be quite a boon around here to have a vehicle with air conditioning for a work car. But we're happy. We're not into it for a whole lot of money at all. And hopefully this will keep some of the crappy stuff out of our Yukon. There you go. Thanks a lot for coming along. Fair winds. We'll see you next time around.